Just as the deans of the Community College of Allegheny County took seriously that I had been banned from Seattle Central Community College and asked me for a research paper grounding my research, independent research, in a historical foundation of cause of concern, which I was happy to do. I turned in a 50-page paper with 30 sources and received Ethics 303 and was allowed to come back to school, where I graduated with honors. Seattle Central made issue of off-the-cuff comments derived from my research. I'm going to make a few. Not to challenge my banishment, that's over and done with. And it's also been overturned. But to give some insight into what my research has turned up. There are certain established facets of the semiotic community that derives from Diaghilev and D'Annunzio and the early days of cinema, influenced by people like Ouspensky. One of those facets is that they called the revenge attack for the atomic victory of World War II Operation Little Girl, for the reverse of Little Boy. And they used the symbol of the little girl in, for example, the false moment of redemption in the Greek book about the last temptation of Christ. The little girl removes his crown of thorns and walks him down off the cross. This is a well-known facet of the synchronization of the extermination program. There's a little girl in a Shinto shrine outfit where JFK is murdered. And what they did was they used Fluxus refrains that they planted, just like Starting Over, in films of the 50s and 40s, like Casablanca and We the Living, where Ingmar Bergman is told, for your sake, I let him, or where Goridas, whatever the guy's name is told, Claude Rains is told, for your sake, I let her pretend. And this is sort of an Argentinian Borges idea that Ringo Starr applied to me as well when he quoted Zorba the Greek, another Xanthicus, to justify his neuroplastic implant and bombing it with a hottie. Fucking him into seizures, man. Ha ha ha. That's the idea of a joke. Is to explode a neuroplasm biologically. Borges had stories of letting a guy pretend before you assassinate him. So they let John Kennedy pretend he was president of the United States. And then they let him down Death Valley, which contracts to Dealey, D-E-A, Death Valley, the Valley of the Doll. And this is the Warpo world, that the Swami Nostra of the Catholic worker meditations on how to boil the planet for the second coming came about with Pope Carl and James Watts. I mean, Reagan's brain was a Frankenstein brain. He was really, really, really sick and crazy. And he put this together with the Beatles and Yoko Ono, who continues to ply this through media. They had a parameter mapped out in Gaza to architecturally process an observation of Western civilization's pseudo-ethics. We are the object for observation as we observe. Observe the observer. Who watches the watcher? Who peeps on the genocide peeps? So when you get through the ranks of the University of Pittsburgh, you find that the philosophers and theologians are crowning glories of martial law servitude. I mean, they really consider this like the brilliant experiment of their barefoot serpents. It's obviously Kuchenhorn. And the architecture of the extermination has been evaluated. They drew a line across Gaza, raised to that, bulldozed to that line, then went beyond it, chased people into the sand where they couldn't grow crops and so forth, and then began bombing tents. It was all premeditated and systematic. And they have that layout here: Fasco at 63, 1020 at Savage. You know, Dan Savage was the crowd that worked me over at The Stranger, who laughed about the evidence the Wademaker pulled a schizoid man on Queerball because Ono told them, hit the laugh for us button in Seattle's Capitol Hill. So they built momentum for, and they sell this idea, oh, it was Hollywood, it was Hollywood. It was Hollywood. And beyond. That's proven by the fact that Will Self-Spoke is reported and the whole thing falls together in analysis. Architecturally, they have an 1122 at Hyde Park, Umpqua, Mildred at Pierce, Tacid, TACID, which is DT and CIA, Trump's acid in your face. I mean, who threatened to throw acid in the face of the candidates once or something? I mean, and the police can't trace this to the units in Bray for some reason. Well, give them another 48 hours, I guess.